Elections, the path to becoming the next commander-in-chief is becoming more clear. Big wins across 5 states may have cemented front-runner status for 2 candidates, and it forced another person to drop out of the race. CCTV's Jim Spellman is here with all the details. Jim, never a dull moment.
What a wild election cycle. Let's dive right in with the Republicans. Tuesday night, real estate mogul Donald Trump won 4 states, including Florida. His chief rival there dropped out after the loss. Trump, now the only Republican candidate with a realistic chance of getting enough delegates to be the nominee before the convention. If no candidate has enough delegates, it becomes what they call an open convention. The party can then essentially nominate anyone to be their candidate for president. On the Democratic side, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton won 4 races last night as well. Looks more and more like a Trump-Clinton showdown is a real possibility, Asier.
You know, this election has been very different from the past one. So much hate, so much anger, so much division. But Jim, at the end of the day, people care about real issues. What are some of those issues?
The whole thing seems like all sideshow and kind of no main event here.
Exactly.
But there are real issues in play here. Terrorism and immigration, 2 big issues on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. But the economy is the issue that's really resonating with voters. And for the first time, Americans have been willing to vote in large numbers for a self-described democratic socialist.
The world is caught in an era of socialist expansion. Most of the nations are affected, and America is a target.
For decades, the United States had one major enemy, the Soviet Union. According to U.S. propaganda, the Soviets aimed to crush American liberty, partly through the spread of socialism. Fast forward to today, and things sure have changed. Bernie Sanders, one of the top candidates for the U.S. presidency, is a self-avowed democratic socialist.
It is not a wild socialist idea to say that if somebody works 40 or 50 hours a week, that person should not be living in poverty.
So what exactly is socialism?
Webster's Collegiate Dictionary defines socialism as a political and economic theory of social organization based on collective or governmental ownership and democratic management of the essential means for the production and distribution of goods.
Sanders has a somewhat different take.
I don't believe government should take over, the grocery store down the street or own the means of production. But I do believe that the middle class and the working families of this country who produce the wealth of this country deserve a decent standard of living.
That message is resonating with young voters who weren't raised during the Soviet era.
Socialism doesn't frighten younger voters. Most of them couldn't even tell you what socialism really is in any sort of coherent way. And in that sense, the fact that Bernie Sanders is a self-proclaimed socialist doesn't frighten them away. They think of socialism as meaning free education and free health care. And to a lot of them, that sounds pretty good.
Brian Felcher is a Sanders supporter. He was born in 1991, the year the Soviet Union dissolved.
I guess people aren't so worried about socialism for a while, and I think that the idea of socialism hasn't been as under scrutiny as some other things. It's just been a word that was made evil for a long time.
Sanders has an uphill battle to become the nominee, but he has won primaries in 9 states and is showing that Americans are willing to at least consider some elements of socialism. A generation ago, Asier, that was unthinkable in the United States.